Pearl Davis in the building.
Guys have so much to lose. I don't know why they don't do background checks.
We talk about this sometimes about prenups. Like, I'm against the prenups, but typically everybody else is for the prenups. To say that there's no exceptions is to say that everyone's cooked.
You guys fall for everything.
They're like a good-looking little family, though.
She's a decent person right now.
Do you think women are happy like this?
They're super happy. I don't really see a difference between traditional, like, conservative women and porn star women. They divorce just the same.
What's wrong with the men that the men cannot recognize they're being played?
I'm not trying to come at you, but you see the market. Why don't you want a prenup? You're cooked.
Indeed, nice.
So I actually, should we bump her up a little bit with the,
We're looking
maybe
at the
just
picture.
slightly.
Oh, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
It's a surprise.
Okay.
Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Oh. Welcome to Punchie TV.
Welcome to Punchie TV with your hosts.
Welcome to Punchie TV. I am Punchie with your host, Punchie, from JesseLeePeterson.com show. Oh, Joel Friday, the host of the... What am I saying about you? The American Anchor Baby. The host of the American Anchor Baby show. James Hake, a host of the Hake Report. Welcome to Punchie TV. Punchie.
Welcome to Punchie TV. We are back with a brand new episode with a special guest. You guys are not ready for this. We have Pearl Davis in the building, in studio.
Wait.
She's here. And we appreciate it. Thank you, Pearl, for coming on.
Thanks
Punchie
so
TV.
much for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Really quick, for those who don't know, can you tell them a little bit about what your show is about? I know she has her own show, podcast, very popular. Can you tell them a little bit what it's about?
Yeah, so I used to do the show called The Pregame, where I would debate women 3 to 6 times a week. I did that for a year and a half. Interviewed 1,000 women. I got really tired of that. So, so now I do a show called Pearl Daily. It's a call-in show 3 days a week. And we talk about different trends going on in society, or let people call in and tell their dating stories. So
Nice. And one thing, because I watched, I'm familiar with the stuff you've done, some of your videos, but also you've been on The Fallen State before with Jesse.
Yeah, that was early in my career. I think that was like 2-3 years ago now.
Yeah,
it was a while ago.
Yeah. You were here, but also you were on the radio show as well, but it was via video call.
Yeah.
But you were here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's where we met you for the first time, if you remember, but yeah, you were on the video call. But one thing I noticed that I like that you do in your videos is that when you refer to women, because you talk about women, when you refer to women, you say we. You include yourself in there. Is there a specific reason you do that, or do you really
I'm not special?
Oh, okay, fair
enough. I think like the people that go through life thinking they're special are like they get hit the hardest, and it's like always the guy that never thinks he's gonna get divorced.
Yeah.
It's always the guy, like it's the people that think things will never happen to them, or that they're so different, and it's almost like a hero complex, in my opinion. Anyways, I feel like it's,
Well, but it's also like maybe like a psychological thing a little bit when you put yourself involved, in the sense of people tend to receive it a little bit differently. Because when it feels like they're being scolded all the time, then their first thought, especially if they're angry, is going to want to like look at you as the bad guy.
Yeah.
But when you like say we, it kind of almost kind of disarms. Do you see that? Or?
No, have you seen angry women? Nothing. Nothing helps. Like,
I'm on X.
You could do it like, because that's what they'd always say on my show. They would be like, oh, it's the way you say it. So I would try to say it with like kid gloves, and I'd be like, you know what, you guys are just dumb hoes. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I would try.
You don't hold back. Do you notice? Because when I watch your videos, you don't really hold back, but from the outside perspective, do you feel like you hold back? Like, are you scaled back at all, or you just being yourself type of thing?
I mean, I do have to hold back because of YouTube. I don't want to lose my channel. So I always have to say, like, women, but not all. Like, I think Jesse does that too.
I know, you said it once.
It's like pretty much all, but not all. You know?
Fair enough. So you understand it. You understand.
Yeah.
Well, we have a bunch of different questions that we want to ask you that we have you here. My first question is, why are women in politics?
Oh, do you know what? I think it's just because they're like jealous of men, and since we don't have any actual like real power, like we don't have any.
Yeah.
We always have to go get men to do things for us, and that's what politics is. It's like women sending men to fight for them, women sending men to, yeah. Or like I even think it's funny. You see these. I saw this girl, Gomez or something. She's running for governor of Mississippi. And she had this thing where she's like, I'm deporting the illegals, da-da-da. I'm like, you're not doing There's a guy doing it for you.
Taking all the credit? Or
What?
She's taking all the credit?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we do. We have guys do things for us and then take the credit.
That's such an old thing, too. Like, oh, women have been powerless. But that's like the oldest story, no? There's been kings probably influenced by their wives.
Well, that's our only power. Like, what? How else? Okay, like, if I wanted to attack someone or I wanted to get my way, our only power is verbal. Like, that's it. Like, we can't do shit.
Yeah.
So it's either attacking, nagging, or getting a guy to do it.
That's a good point.
Getting a guy who, like, a simp to do it for us. That's it.
Did they just get really good at that? Or what happened here? Did the women just get
why'd they
really
get
good
away
at
with it?
verbal?
Well, yeah, because it's biology. There's always going to be a guy that wants sex and is going to do it. Like, always. Like, if there's a group of people, it's just always going to happen. Like,
It's more than just that, though, because there is a instinctive thing. I got into a car accident relatively recently, and I was trying to I was like, hey, let me see if I can just pay you cash, because I don't want it on my record for my insurance. And the girlfriend or wife comes out, and he's all, he wants to do cash. She's like, what? We're doing the insurance. And there was like this jump in me when she's like, kind of pissy.
It's like
that.
this. It's like that.
And so
scorn.
that scolding.
Yeah.
Mama spirit thing. There's something more than just sex.
I mean, men will go to the end of the of the earth to not hear a woman nag.
Well, you know what I think is that's part. I think that's true too. I think it's like, for one, it's just like, let me ignore it so they just shut up. But also like a fear. Too.
Yeah.
Like there's like
it doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah, like
she's the least powerful person in this situation in terms of physical and like real natural authority, calm.
Yeah.
But yet she like tried to dominate, and she was like successful for a moment.
But
that's why I asked too. It's like, did it just get good at being verbal? I think that's what you're getting at.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I think that it's since Eve.
Yeah.
Bingo.
I mean, how often are women told no ever?
Yeah, no.
Ever
that's
in
true.
life.
Yeah.
Like, men are told no all the time, and it makes you guys build character and like be better people.
True.
Yeah,
Because
that's
if
true.
you act like an asshole, someone's gonna tell you, punch you, like something bad's gonna happen. But women were just like rewarded for it.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, there's no incentive. What incentive do women have to be good people?
That's true, and then it also
Only when the men are able to say no. It's true.
only when they say no. Yeah. Well, how do you think it affects women in politics now, being there? Like, how does it affect them, like, personally?
I mean, they all turn into like dudes.
Yeah.
You know.
And like, how? What do you mean?
It's just their demeanor. And no, do you know what happens? So women go into politics and they cheat, divorce their husbands, and leave for a politician. That's like Sarah
Whoa.
Palin left for an MLB baseball player.
Interesting.
Lauren Boebert.
There was that one girl that was in the movie theater. I'm just like, it's
Boebert.
Boebert. I'm like, it's just classic.
Lauren Boebert. Sorry.
It's just
Interesting.
because women become the men they want to marry.
Oh,
So like
interesting.
if they're becoming a politician, they want to be with a politician.
Do you think it screws up their natural, just womanhood? Like you say, it makes it more masculine, but like, is it making them like lose touch with their femininity at all?
I mean, they're outsourcing motherhood because there's no way you could watch your kids and be a full-time politician.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they're just not like someone else's. Like it's funny because I know what it takes to like do podcast tours and like go from like place to place, and I'll see these like women and like doing political tours, and I'm just thinking, there's no way you're watching. Like, there's no way you're partaking in your family. You just can't.
Yeah. See, that's what I wonder, because there's also ladies who say that they can do it. They're doing everything. They can do it all, right? And I always question, and we typically question here, is like, well, something has to slip. Like, how are you able to do it all? And that's what I wanted to ask you. Do you think that when it comes to women doing it all, do you think that relationships or marriages is an equal partnership?
Well, today it's more the women's marriage, not the men. Like, I would say it's favored towards the women, because if you make the wrong move, I can take your kids, divorce you, take your money, take your house. You know, it's if anything, it's like it's more like the women are in charge.
It leans more into her side.
Yeah.
It's more than just the laws too, though. It's like the men are weak and kind of needy, and overreactive to that nagging and to the need for the sex.
Yeah, well, I mean, sex is a need especially for men. They have like 8 times the testosterone we do. So, you know, when you get, like, women can download a dating app and, you know, get 1,000 matches. Like, imagine if men had 1,000 matches. Would they take anything from women on a dating app? And, like, I mean, yeah, you could say that's just sexual interest. But even if, let's say, 10% you'll get relationships out of, that's still way more than... Like, so you see what women do with leverage. And that's what you're seeing in, like, the marriage market, the dating market, is the way women behave when they have leverage.
See, that's
Terribly.
Yeah,
pure wicked.
But that's because of the weakness. I don't agree that it's a need. People say it's a need, but it's not really like a need. Like, you won't die.
Yeah, but it just goes to a different area. Like, what % of men watch porn? It's like 95%. So it's like, it would be one thing if, like, that's like saying someone doesn't eat and they, like, oh, it's not a need.
But eating is a need. Like, you will die.
Yeah, but men, you could argue that they won't die, but 95% are watching porn. So
right,
like,
and that's not right. I mean, that's...
A need, we're talking about need for the woman.
Need for sex.
Oh, need for sex. Oh.
You bring up an interesting thing, bro. I saw something on your X, and you posted this thing about... some woman who was like a porn star, but she got married. She ended up getting married. She may have even turned Christian or something. Yeah. And she went major viral because some guy brought it up and said, "How is this person getting married? How is that allowed? How is this even a thing?" So we, again, on the sex being a need thing, the fact that this woman got married, it might point to the fact that men really do look at looks. They look at the sex.
Yeah.
But are the men wrong for that? Like, don't you think? What do you think about that? Despite that being true,
I wouldn't say they're wrong or right. Every man has a right to live his life the way he wants to live it. So if you want to marry a porn star, but I don't really see a difference between traditional, like, conservative women and porn star women. They divorce just the same. Steven Crowder married a virgin woman who called him an abuser and really took a hit his political career. Yeah. So I think it gets to a point where the men are like, well, the conservative women are doing the same thing as the whores. I might as well just.
Yeah. It's just like conservative and namesake only, though. But even there's like Christian and namesake only. There's a lot of like namesake only things. Yeah. To where the heart is the condition of their behavior is the same way. They just like put a title on it, like I'm conservative or
the worst. Do you know what the worst? I do. I'm in the middle of a divorce documentary that we're making, and the absolute worst divorce. You know what? She's my second draft pick now, but second worst divorce at the time that I'd ever saw was literally from Michael Knowles' church. Like, so it's like, what's the difference?
Yeah, interesting.
There's no, like, you can go to a Latin mass, like, very strict religious community.
The spirit's evil everywhere.
Yeah, so I think that's how they end up getting married is the corn stars, at least a lot of them have studied men in a way that, like, conservative women don't, and they understand men's, like, sexual needs. And so I think that's how they end up getting married.
Interesting.
Like, because they're not, the conservative women aren't bringing morality to the table.
Yeah.
So it's like, they're like, I might as well get a hot.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a frigid,
what is it about
stuck up one that's not even going to put out. I'm not even going to get sex out of it.
I know a guy who, he I don't want to say, but he basically said there was a girl that he hooked up with that was very good, like, sexually, and even though she was a very big whore, he was like, you know what, I can afford food, I can afford everything else.
Yeah.
So You know, that's the only thing. For certain guys, I'm not saying every man's different, right?
Yeah.
But
That's the
what I'm
token.
wondering is,
but but that, like, you wonder how that happens. Like, that's why is and I think that conservative women, because what they can do is they can virtue signal to be a good person.
Yeah.
So so they can just wear a cross, so they don't have to work hard
Playing
at
a
like
role.
being a good person.
Yeah.
And so I find that they're worse.
Well, it's a good point.
I think they're
because
bitchier,
it's
they're stuck
like-
up, they're more naggy.
But it's more like
just
playing the role. It's more playing the role. It's like hiding behind. That's what I question. Like, why? This is what I wonder is that, like, why do men, and maybe not, well, definitely not all, but there's a lot of men who love conservative women. But I'm trying to understand, like, what is it about the nature of conservative women that people, is it the confidence or is, well, maybe the beauty, the attractiveness?
No, they think they think they won't. It's usually sexually inexperienced men or men that haven't really dated like that, where they actually believe what women say.
Yeah.
And so that's where I find that, like, the Christian guys are the biggest targets, because it's like a lot of times they're ex-hoes and they're like, oh, all I have to do is put a Jesus cross on. Let's do it.
Did they get away with it?
And then they
that's
put on the
interesting.
cross, they
Yeah.
put on the dress, and then there's some guy there who's like never dated a woman ever. And then he's like, oh, I found a good woman. Does it,
Yeah.
like, nowadays, if you're smart, like, you guys have so much to lose. I don't know why they don't do background checks. Like, I don't know what, like, there's so many.
Yeah.
Doesn't even enter my mind.
The guys are like, no, just believe her. I'm like, really?
Background check.
Right.
You know, every
Well,
time,
you think
every
guys should
time
do
a guy,
background checks?
what?
You think guys should do background
Hell
checks?
yeah! I've had the PIs on my show. I mean, the amount of women under Gen Z women are really into sex work. Like, that's a very big problem with Gen Z women.
Do you think a man or a woman can recognize a decent person without having to do all that stuff behind it? Like, at all?
I've interviewed a lot of men that thought they had, and plus for women, it's like, she's a decent person right now.
Yeah.
Like when women say, like, I'm a Christian, add in
Yeah.
right now.
True.
You don't know what she's gonna be in 10
I
years.
think, you know, that's a good point. You know, I think that
You can't know someone like that.
in general, and this is just my opinion, I think in general that you can, there's guys and girls who, on a mass scale, that are obvious, especially now in the time that we live in, it's obvious that they think and behave a certain way, right? And maybe not to everybody that can recognize it. Maybe, like, you know, people like you or us that can recognize that, oh, there's a game being played here type of thing. But that game is being played by 90+% of the people. But I do think there's a small amount of people and a skill set that you can have by recognizing a decent one throughout the bunch.
Yeah. I've met a lot of guys that think they have that skill set. But every time, you know what? I'll tell you what. Every time a guy's like, my wife was different. I'm like, okay, so did she go to college? Oh, okay, she did. How'd you meet? And it's always she moved. Like, it's always that she moved from a different city. So it's like, that's very convenient that you can't verify anything.
So do you think that in the old city that there's dirt that you could dig up?
And some people move
Fair.
because they want to move, right? But like,
Or
the whole
move because
point is
they've got out of a crazy evil situation.
Oh yeah.
true,
Fresh
true.
new life.
But like, it's always whenever I
That's true,
ask
too.
guys, and I'm like, okay, what age did you meet her at? That's so convenient. What was she doing the last, like, and like, I can always break it down.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying there are not good women, but it can never be. It's always convenient that it can never be verified. It's always like very, like, it should be easy for me, like, trust, but verify. Like, it should be easy for me to verify. Some of the guys that get bamboozled, it's like they had that mindset where they thought that they could just tell, but they didn't verify.
So then
Meaning she has a past and she's going to switch later down the road.
Yeah. Because what's the best predictor of future behavior? It's past.
the only reason why I say playing devil's advocate here is the only reason why I say is that, like, what kind of life or marriage is that tend to be? Because we talk about this sometimes about prenups. Like, I'm against the prenups, but typically everybody else is for the prenups. I understand it, believe me. But what kind of lifestyle is it to live in fear of, like, she might cheat, she might turn on me, there's dirt, I didn't vet her strong enough, It seems like not like a
It's a
peaceful
pretty
life
easy.
to
It's
live.
pretty easy to do. I mean, you can get a background check for a couple $100.
So
It could
does
save
that
you.
fully tell you
No.
exactly what you need to know? I don't know if that would, because you can find a clean girl that can still like clean
True.
background.
Yeah, that's called making up for missing out. So it's like women, they like, yeah, because you wonder why is the divorce rate lower for people between, I think it's like 25 to 30, rather than like the highest divorce rate is people under 20.
Who got married
Yeah.
young?
Yeah, who got
Yeah.
married young, but it's because, you know, they feel like they missed out.
It's
So that's like a
yeah.
new, you're not safe anywhere. No.
Everybody's
Interesting.
selfish.
But every guy like thinks it won't happen to him, and those are the guys. Those are exactly the men who would
That it happens to.
Yeah, because I interview them on the other
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
And it's
No, I get
like if you watch like Steven Crowder, for example, before he got divorced, like he had a very like big ego about it, and he was all the men that were complaining. He kind of had
Yeah.
your attitude, no offense, but like
Wow,
the
Pearl.
why get a prenup, the why. And I'm
But
like,
he
okay.
lost it to him. But
Take that down.
I know. I'm cutting this
It's
out.
edited.
All
It's
of the
pre-taped.
editing.
That's it. No, no.
What are you saying?
No, I'm saying mark that.
No, I hope it doesn't. I never wish it upon anybody.
I rebuke those words.
I just
Cancel them in the name
I-
of Jesus.
you have to understand. I've collected data on people over time, and
Yeah,
I've done
yeah.
a spreadsheet
Yeah.
of like,
Well, that
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand that.
Yeah.
And I understand that like 100% that typically these are the results that are shown, and it's backed up with receipts that this happens. I'm just a guy, and they'll tell you too that like I just a guy who believes in exceptions to the rule. And to say that there's no exceptions is to say that everyone's cooked. And I just don't believe that everyone is completely cooked. Maybe 1 out of a trillion, but I tend to like to.
that's true.
What I
Like,
say
I
is
mean,
the
I was an athlete, right? And there were a lot of guys that believed when I was in school that they were going to make it to the league. And there are men. And there were men that did make it to the league. Not,
Yeah, yeah.
not from, I think there was like one guy from my high school or something.
Yeah.
And I'm, you know.
But it's
there's-
rare is the point that you're
I mean,
saying.
Tom Brady got divorced. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just think it's like very delusional to think that you are somehow special or different when, like, and me too, like everybody, you know.
Yeah.
And the exception wouldn't think of themselves as the exception. Like it's just
That's true. That's
you
true.
would just
Wait and see.
right. You just got to be like about you and doing the right thing as an individual.
One thing
Fair enough.
I like
Fair
about
enough.
Joel's approach, though, is if the hit comes, just take it.
That's what I.
Yeah,
I think
that's-
that's what
yeah.
I mean. That's how I know Joel is. That's because I know him.
Yeah, fair enough. So really quick, do you think marriage in general is an equal partnership?
Like, is it today or like,
Or like in
ideal?
general, do you think ideally should marriage be an equal partnership?
think it-
like men and women
No.
both do the same things.
No, I think ideally it should be patriarchal, but there's no way it can be in this society.
Why so? Why not?
Okay, so I marry someone, right? And tomorrow I say I want to leave because I feel like it. Who gets the kids? Me. Who gets the money? Me. Who has the leverage? Me.
Agreed.
Women have all the leverage, so.
But do you think if it was patriarchal, I never even heard that word.
There's, like-
That means the man runs the show.
Oh, okay, the order. So the
Yeah.
order. We call it the order.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if like, but wouldn't it work more properly? Meaning that if a woman discovered that this is where it makes the most sense and she's gonna stay here, and the man discovers this makes the most sense, we're gonna stay here, and this is gonna work, why not use that? Why go and try to make it 50-50? Or why do people
But
do
it's
that?
still like, even if a couple decides on that, it's only that decision if she feels like it.
Oh,
So
meaning like,
yeah, so it's really her choice.
based off of the government's siding with her.
Society too. If she tells a sob story, you're an abuser. Who are they gonna believe?
That's
Like,
that's
it's-
crazy. That's
yeah,
true.
Who
though.
are they?
It's
Like,
crazy.
yeah, it's women get every benefit of the doubt, men get none.
Yeah.
So,
So
who did-
everyone-
even conservatives piled on Crowder. Like,
Yeah,
even
true.
like his friends, they all said like they were all reporting that he was abusive.
Just because he's like,
Candace Owens, the conservative woman,
Yeah.
was the one who broke the story. He said,
Interesting.
so it's like again,
Go ahead.
but
conservative.
those things are not like, those things are important. Like it's physically like you would want your kids, you would want your money, but it wouldn't be as devastating if he were a man about it.
Right.
And it'd probably be less likely to happen to him if he were a man about it.
And if it were to happen, it would be less of a big deal because he's not overreacting to it happening.
It's
as
like
well.
your approach when you said just let him take the kids.
Yeah.
That don't care attitude
Yeah.
Correct.
keeps her around in
But see,
the first
that's
place.
That's a good point.
You could probably have that attitude even in this world and with all that's going on.
Yeah, like there's always going to be an unfair aspect of society, and
Yeah.
with our culture, it's getting worse and worse and worse. But like a righteous man, if you will,
A man would.
be able to handle it
Yeah.
pretty well, and maybe even be relatively unscathed. I feel like
You agree?
probably would be smarter than to get married.
I mean, you have
in
to.
most cases,
You have to define
Honestly.
unscathed, right?
Yeah.
you have to-
Well, in
yeah.
terms of
I
not being bothered or destroyed by it, because a lot of men are committing suicide and they're bothered by
Yeah.
this.
Well, yeah, they don't expect it, but
Yeah.
I would just expect her to go after however many kids she wants.
Have
It's
a
usually-
bar set real
No,
low.
no, however many kids she wants, that's when they leave. It's like whenever the youngest kids hits preschool,
Yeah.
you can just like expect she may go at that time.
In the Bible, it
Well,
says
Girl's gonna have
like-
a book, and in her book is say at preschool, start suspecting. Now the guy's gonna start looking.
No,
at
not
it.
not that he's going to
But,
look
like,
for
they're-
it, but just to be like
yeah, just to be
accepting.
aware. Like she might, yeah. Then if she goes, you're like, well, I saw this coming.
I saw
Maybe
this-
you put some Bitcoin away.
Yeah, it's like I
Something
saw.
she doesn't
You
know
know
about,
what?
nor the courts.
Or you could pay your wife more than you, so maybe you could put her on alimony.
It's see, there's
not-
ways to get around this. That's what,
Yeah, I know one guy. That's what he did to avoid like he hired his wife
Yeah.
and made sure she always made more. She's like, I want to be a stay-at-home. I'm not today.
well, why do you think that the ladies aren't? Why aren't they accepting that patriarchal? How you say it?
Patriarchal.
Order. The
Yeah.
order. Why aren't they
What-
finding their place and being in that and wanting to be mother? Why do you think that they want to go out and be a mother? Because they still want to be mothers for the most part. They still want
Really?
to be
One
married
out of three
for
women
the
are
most
killing their
part.
kids. 1 out of 3.
But
You
why
think
do
they want to be mothers?
That's at a young
Well-
age, though. Don't they start to regret not having kids later, or no?
you guys fall for everything.
No, because,
I thought that women like
regret
come 30 or 40.
no, but on a mass scale, we see even the conservatives.
They don't ever have regrets about not having kids. Like,
I don't.
until
You
late?
can believe it. I don't have to.
Well, but even the
I
conservatives,
remember I
I
had
noticed
a
that
conversation with
I
someone
just feel
that.
like there's some type of regret that comes in 30s, 40s. Like eventually they're like, oh man, I just
remember-
wasted my life.
my life is over.
You know?
But I
Maybe
find
I'm wrong.
the
Why
reason
don't
I
their
bring it up-
behaviors change?
You said what?
Like, if you really regret something in life, your behaviors change. And if anything, when I was interviewing women, I found the older women worse. So if they were so regretful, where was the humility?
I think
That's true.
I think that
That's true.
regret doesn't make you change though. Regret kind of makes you worse because they regret, and that's
Good
not
point.
like a righteous sort of repentance. It's just a dang reality hit me like a truck. I'm gonna start going all crazy.
So Pearl's
You know what I
right.
mean?
They have not repented.
Yeah, they haven't
Well,
repented,
some of
but
them
they
started-
do. I don't know.
Well, the question, really quick, because I want you to answer the question, is that
We fall for everything.
the conservative women now want to be in these positions of power. We see that, but also they typically, from what I see, correct me if I'm wrong, they also want to be wives, and they talk about being, I want to have a family and children, and we can balance it all. Why do they want to balance it all and not just stay at home, watch the children? Because that's a great job to do, and it's full time, and there's things to do, and it'll take up most of your time. Why is that?
Well, you
a no-no?
can, you could. There are jobs that are like suitable for kids. Like you could be a teacher. You could like,
Yeah.
there are jobs that like you could work. My sister works at a daycare, and some of the moms bring their kids to daycare, and that's what they do with their kids.
Yeah.
But they're choosing the one job that like you cannot balance.
Why? That's what I'm wondering. Why does
It's
that
like I'm not
happen?
even saying like because I think I've interviewed a lot of guys that one of my biggest donors for my divorce documentary was a guy who in this state is put on lifetime alimony. Like he had a housewife. It puts guys in a really bad position when they have a housewife because after, like, she can take credit for everything that he did and just take it all. And so a lot of guys get screwed at like 60 and they'll work the rest of their life. And that's what was happening to him. And so he was like, I'll give you the money so she can't have it.
That's funny.
So wait, is Pearl saying that women
They take it
should
all.
no
They take
longer
50%, or they,
housewives?
what
Well,
do they take?
a lot of times it's more. I'd have to look into the state, but yeah, because the way I think alimony is, I'm bringing on a child support guy from this state in like 2 days, so I'd be able to answer it better. But a lot of times it's pre-tax. So the woman gets the money tax-free.
Oh,
and the
wow.
guy is taxed. So a lot of times it's more than 50% of his
Yeah.
income.
Dang.
Yeah.
Well, Pearl, you're scaring all the housewives away from being home now.
'Cause-
You're telling them that if you're at home, or that the men, well, the housewives now
I
are
don't
being.
think. I mean, you guys are
And
having
tax
like
is
you guys
like
are having
20-30%, right?
Okay, look, I'm one of 10 kids. They had 1 to 2 kids. I'm like, it's a part-time job wouldn't even kill you.
Okay, well, you went on your
like,
show.
They're like, I'm like, what do you?
Well, on
You're
your
gonna be
show.
a teacher? Like that's not. You get 3 months off during the year.
That's what I was wondering, because I seen on your show you covered you did a reaction video to Megyn Kelly and Anna Kasparian. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Discuss being a working mother. I have a clip here that I want to play from your show, and there's something you said here that I thought was good, and I want to play it. This is from Pearl Daily. Megyn Kelly and Anna discuss being a working mother. Here we go.
It's important for kids to have that close relationship with their mother growing up, especially in like the formative years. But I do think that it's possible for mothers to work and still be great mothers.
Okay.
A lot of women don't even have that choice. You get what I'm saying? Especially in this current economy with inflation. So
How many women said, hey, I'm okay with living in a small apartment. I'm okay with not living in the best neighborhoods, not going to the best schools. I'm okay with working part-time just so I can be home with the kids, right? I'll get a job from my laptop. I mean, guys, there's so many dumb jobs that, like, you don't do anything at. I mean, can we just be honest here? Can we be honest? I'm trying to work with these women here, but they want the high-flying careers. They want to go on all the shows. They want... It just is what it is.
So you
That's
make
true.
you make a great point. Is that
There's people
why?
in my live chat all day, the JLP network all day.
Yeah,
And I think they're at work.
right. That's true. And that's what I love. The point that you make is that, like, because the excuse is that, like, I want to be able to work, the economy and all that stuff. But you say, like, why not downgrade your life? Why not choose a small apartment so that your children aren't children aren't at risk for the fact that you're not at home? Why is that not? Because that's just a common sense approach, right? Why do you think that women won't just do that? Even conservative women, why won't they do it?
They want stuff.
Yeah.
like I can always tell because women on my show would always say they were broke.
Yeah.
And so I would no, and they would say I can't afford whatever. And
Yeah.
but I can tell on their faces if they've had work done, like because I can tell on their I can see your forehead not moving. And I've done shows breaking down. I've done shows breaking down the cost of a woman, so you can like calculate how expensive she is to maintain.
Yeah. That's a good
Like
point,
if she
too.
has fake hair, that's gonna be I think it's like $2,000, and then $300 every like 3 months. If you see girls with like long fake extensions.
So they want the lifestyle.
Yeah, the
$3,000.
Botox is a couple $100 every couple of months. If they get lip filler, that
You
like
gotta go to the black
and so
stores.
if they
Why do they do
like
that? Black
if they mean it, you'll look at like the way they look. And it will match what they're saying. Like if they really can't afford it, I won't see fake nails. I won't see much. Like I've done reactions or like compilations of women saying they're going broke. And I can always tell the difference between women in like a bad situation because they look terrible.
Yeah,
Like-
you can tell. You know,
Yeah,
you
they
can
look
tell.
they look like awful. But then these women with like fake nails, obvious plastic surgery, are like
Yeah, and those are the ones. But that's why the point that I like that you made, because I realized too is that like the ladies just want to feel happy, right? Feel happy, right? So in in doing that, they will change everything up. They'll make the man stay at home. They'll get a babysitter. They'll do all kinds of stuff in order to just keep that happiness there. Meanwhile, all hell is breaking loose in the house, in the country, but not just say, let me just get out. That's what I'm wondering. Why is nobody seeing that and nobody saying that? Were you going to say something?
Oh, no, I was going to ask something else about the plastic surgery stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah, well, I don't understand because what they'll always say is, I can't submit if I have to work or whatever.
right.
Is teaching that hard? Is it really? That is such a great job. I knew a lot of really good mothers that were teachers. And they would literally, my sister works at a day. There's so many jobs you can do if you really want to work.
You can cook and clean for others. I see those on the street all the time. Home cook needed, home cook needed.
But yeah, they want but it's
Walk a
always,
dog.
but the thing is women become the men they want to marry. So it's
Yeah.
like whatever, it's usually them trying to upgrade their husbands, in my opinion. So like, that's what I think. So like if she wants a political career, like they're always screwing somebody in Congress like 6 months later. If they want to be a like nurses, aren't they like the worst cheaters
Freaky.
ever? They're always screwing the doctors.
When you come to these conclusions, well, maybe not the screwing part, but when you come to the conclusion of this stuff, is it because you realize, like, as a lady, how your mind process things, or you're just...
No, I've studied this
studied
stuff.
Okay.
So, I mean, a lot of times if you go on TikTok, women admit to it.
Yeah, flat out.
I mean, they literally say it. And the
Yeah,
guy and the
no
the
shame.
guys are. Do you know what's funny? Even the abortion thing earlier, you're like they regret it, and the women are on TikTok like I don't regret it.
That's true.
Now, I don't know
so
about
true.
the abortion thing specifically, but I just think about how women will, like, oh, they have to go to college. Oh, they have to get a career. Oh, they have to get a house. And, oh, now they're too old to have kids.
Yeah.
I just have to assume that it would play on their mind that they're past their prime. And now they've wasted all those years pursuing the achievement and never had kids.
I've known a couple who have regretted that, ladies who say, like, man.
And I don't support regretting it.
Right.
But
because
meaning,
people realize they made a mistake.
You would think that they would, because
Well, yeah, but come on, like let's.
they would distract themselves.
No, have you ever? Okay, anyone into fitness here? Yeah, okay, you're into fitness.
Sort of.
Do you have a friend
I
that
think
ever
about
like
it.
they tell you they want to lose weight, and
Yeah.
you're just like eat less, exercise more.
Right.
So and they keep not doing it, and so
Right.
their actions show they don't
Yeah.
want to lose weight. And
Right.
so when
True.
women say they regret it, and they're like, "Oh, I want a man."
That's a good point.
Well,
I've
Look
never
at-
even heard a woman say they regret it, though.
yeah. Well, if
Yeah,
actually,
that's
yeah,
true, that's
and
true,
if they
dude.
do, but
Yeah.
let's say, then it's like, okay, well, you can get 1,000 matches on a dating app. Why don't you set up dates till you find one? Even at
yeah.
like I've
Yeah.
seen grandmas, like I've covered grandmas on Tinder.
Yeah.
Even they get takers.
But see, that's the thing, but
These porn stars are getting married, like
that's this is what I want to. I'm like, my thing is that
People love
if
their
you want to
misery.
do that, if you want to do that stuff, like, and be this person, be it, right? Like you said, like, no right or wrong about it. If that's what you want to do, the way you want to live your life. But the thing is, there's a lie, there's a denial, there's a lie about it. Why not say, I'm here in this position, I want to make more money, I don't want to stay home because I just don't want to do it. Why are they not say that flat out, straight up? They'll make excuses for the reasons why they're not doing what they know they ought to do.
they don't want to do it.
But why don't they just say that, though? That's what I'm wondering. Why don't they just say,
do.
I don't want to do
Women
it?
say, I don't want a man. Like women say,
Well,
I
I
don't
mean-
want to have kids. Like women say all of these things.
they
The
don't
guys just
typically-
don't
well,
believe
that's-
them.
Well, that's
they're
easy
like,
to say,
no, you
though.
really are nurturing. We're like, we killed an eighth of the world population.
But that's easy to say, because that's like the goalpost for them now is to say, I don't want a man, I don't want children.
They don't.
They don't. There's no more shame to that, so they're more free to say it. I'm more saying like them, like actually saying that, you know what, my behavior is evil, or them actually saying that like my children are suffering because I'm not sacrificing, why aren't they saying that part?
Because they don't care. like, like it's so. It's like the fat person. You're like, why don't you say that you wish you went to the gym? And they're like, I don't want to go to the gym.
At least be proud. Be if you're not gonna do it, then just be real about yourself.
They are real about it.
That's a wicked person.
Like women are marching on the street naked, like literally. Like they're being so real about. Like, if anything, feminism has just revealed, like, how women really are.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Like, I almost think, I don't think women have changed. I just think it's like we have more opportunity to be terrible people now.
Yeah.
And so now it's like we have the opportunity, so we do it.
The mindset has always been the same. You're about to say?
I think that they're out of touch with reality, too.
That too.
Yeah.
So they're real in their fakeness, in their vain pursuits, you know?
Like, they believe that they're being genuine in their
They're genuinely
false way.
evil.
Yeah, I see.
Genuinely following the lie.
Yeah,
Because
that's true.
Like how evil people think they're right.
Yeah, exactly. They think that they may think that they're right.
Yeah, so a little bit of ignorance.
Well, and the other thing too is like women, there's two sides to hypergamy. So women either go for provisioning, so the guy that's going to take care of the kid, or like the hot guy, right? So feminism really is women just dating hot guys. That's how I see it. They said, I'm going to go to school to date hot guys. I'm going to join this career to date hot guys. And yeah, because the second they got the opportunity to divorce like the guy that was there for provisioning, they did.
I never seen
like that's why they're marching on. Like, why do you think we fight so hard for abortion? They're saying, I only want kids from the best genetic material that I can get.
Interesting.
I only so.
When I perceive the mindset, I mean, every lady or person is different in general. When I perceive on a more of a mass scale, the mindset of women when they want to do certain things like that, or they have a like ulterior motive, a hidden agenda, that it's not so much, I mean, maybe they want the men, but I more so thought it was them wanting to just be in control. I usually find guys look for the hottest things. You're saying that you've seen or experienced women looking for
Yeah, what do you mean by hottest guys?
Like, I mean, women always cheat with like personal trainer. Like, there's a reason that's like a stereotype. So they get the guy for the kids, right? So they get the provisioning. They marry the one guy. They cheat with the personal trainer.
So for pleasure or for control, though?
No, for genetics, for the baby.
Genetics, because there's two sides.
Saying that there's
like,
two things. Either they want the guy for the stability, the money, but there's another reason they'll want a guy.
Oh.
It's the genetics. They're pure genetics, like stock.
So it's like you need a guy to take care of the kid, and you need the best genetic material. It's very rare you get both, right? Because you know, it's like
That's true.
How many stereotypical, very, very, very attractive men are faithful? You know. They're not going to stick around. Those are the guys making the single mothers.
Right.
And so that's like the workaround women find is they get the genetic material from, for some women, it's a criminal. For some guy, like whatever it is, the athlete, the whatever.
Yeah.
And then they go get the provisioning later from the second guy who's like the cleanup guy.
What a mess.
It's a dark world.
Yeah.
Get out the game.
But so now what you see happening is women have money taken care of. They have provisioning taken care of from the state, and you can get your own money. And so now that's why you see women, like, you ever wonder, like, why on earth would she, and men are very logical, so they have this thought. They're like, why are you reproducing with, like, a criminal? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, women reproduced with, like, Ted Bundy, right? He got a girl pregnant from, like, the most female attention that a guy is going to get is if he commits a crime.
Physically able.
Yeah.
That's true, though.
And guys are like,
Louded,
what?
courageous.
Like, why are they doing that? But women, like, we like the excitement. We like the muscle, you know?
Yeah.
And so, but we have to, like, convince the fallout guy that we like them. And so that's when they signal purity.
Nice. I saw this ugly post on X. I'm getting used to not calling it a tweet. From this person, this account posted out like a screenshot of this. She said, "This is one of the most famous porn stars in the world," and has a little baby.
That's
and
the
then
one I was
there's
talking about.
Oh, Riley
And then there's a
Reid.
dude. They're like a good-looking little family, though. Come on.
Oh, wait. So what is it?
Is this because we need more white babies? You're
Not
like, at least-
necessarily. I'm
Like, at least-
the guy is saying that the dude is a failure of a man, and I get it because that's not right that she was doing all that stuff, but they look great. I mean, I don't know that much about the whole story.
But you're saying there's a chance that is decent.
To her point about don't see a difference between the Christian girls and the porn stars.
I could tell you how she pulled that off. Do you want to know how she pulled that off?
That was.
And he doesn't look that. He doesn't look like a plain.
Do you want to know the
Joe.
catch?
Yeah, go ahead.
He was leaning in that photo.
Well,
Heavy.
was
like
he?
this.
No, I'll tell
But
you.
I
The
I
green
believe
line was off?
I believe like superstitions
Are you
about
familiar
leaning
with
in.
the green
So
line?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, the catch is that she does threesomes with her hot friends.
What do you
So
mean?
she in their marriage, he gets to all her hot friends. That's how she got
Bada
married.
bing.
That's
Well, the picture looks.
that's a
the
pretty good
picture looks
selling
great,
point
though, right?
to a guy.
it does.
Anybody?
Look at the Instagram.
Yeah, if I was
they're-
king-
The
they're-
family
I don't
pic.
know.
It looks
Like
good.
he's like, I could forgive your past if you're bringing all of your hot friends.
Oh,
Like that's
That's
the
shameful.
So
So in your mind,
I'm not saying it's good or bad,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I'm just saying a lot of
Yeah,
guys are like,
right.
you know what?
And I think
I
that's
can- I
why
can
he went for that. People are wondering, like, why would he do that? Why would he do that? It's honestly the sex.
And these are
It's
some
the
of the
sex
most
and
ad-
liking how she looks.
And
right.
she's bringing
And her
some.
friends.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
bringing some of the most attractive
Right.
women on the planet to be with him.
Yeah.
Like twice a week, you get a
I can
threesome
see how
with
that could be
another
an
hot
That's
chick.
what we are,
I can see
ladies.
that. I can see that.
She's
Not
just
who we are.
smarter than the trad chicks who just try to put on a dress
Yeah.
and like it across.
You know, I can
I bet
see that.
I
though.
bet they have a higher marriage rate because they'll figure out a workaround like that.
Can I jump in with one
Go ahead,
more
go
thing related to the appearance of like public figure people?
Mm-hmm.
You liked, I think, T Swift and not Tim Tebow,
Kels.
Travis.
Jay, one of those.
I don't know.
Yeah, Travis
Yeah.
Kels. You probably know better than me. You still like that couple? Are you pro them?
I think they look cute together. I don't know if it'll work because it is Taylor Swift, right?
Right,
But
yeah.
I think they might have a kid.
Just because of her songs, she always has these nasty breakup songs.
yeah.
She's been
Yeah.
publicly with a few guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
women
okay,
want to
right.
be like the heroes and the victims of their own stories. So
Yeah,
she gets
yeah.
to
They're
be like
conflicted.
both. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pearl, would you say? Can I ask something else?
Yeah.
So these guys might call me black-pilled. I'm a little bit more pessimistic, but I really don't.
You're just honest.
I don't find myself pessimistic. I don't really see myself like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But despite that, do you think, Pearl, you could almost call this maybe what I'm doing? Maybe I'm devil's advocate or something here.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that everything we've described, the landscape you've set out here, is there still a difference between these exaggerated examples that we see and talk about and just like the average milieu people, where everything we're talking about is still in them, but they're just average. They're just regular people. That's not as exaggerated. Do you think there's a difference in there?
No. I think every time you get a group of people, women are going to go for the top 20%. It's like pastors have a reputation for like 50% of pastors have had affairs, and that's admitted. So it's probably higher, right? You get a group of people together, it's always the women are going to go for 20% of men and then convince the next 20 to 30% of men that they didn't. And that percentage is just going to keep getting smaller and smaller.
But what's wrong with
It's gonna
the
be
men?
5%,
What's wrong with the
10%.
men, though, Pearl? That the men. Well, finish your point, Nick.
No, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're on it.
What's wrong with the men that the men cannot recognize they're being played?
You're on it.
I mean, okay, I'm not trying to come at you, all right? But you see the market. Why don't you want a prenup? Like, it's kind of like, it's like men,
Yes.
I don't know what it is, but it's like I could
Yes.
say, hey, point A, point B, why this girl's a whore. But men, maybe it's because they just, like, I think it's they need sex. I think sex is a need for men. And it becomes so difficult to get. And it
Yes.
keeps getting harder and harder every year for like normal guys
Yeah.
that they just are like, fine, use me.
No,
It's cheaper
That's
than
true, though. That's
it's
true.
cheaper than finding like it's because I forgot I've done rates of like what prostitutes
I
are
was
for an
about to
hour.
say.
So it's like I have to put up with her shit or go pay
I was about
$250
to
for
say.
an hour. Like
We need to educate men on the street price of Sorry. we can
Yeah,
cut this
I don't
out. We can
remember.
cut
It's
this
been
out.
a while since I looked at
Yeah.
the numbers, but I think
It's in
like,
rap songs,
Yeah, I don't.
so
Yeah, because
You can find it out.
I've had escorts, prostitutes on the show. So, I mean,
Pearl,
those
do
are
you-
their options.
Sorry.
They do that. They do porn. Like, you know.
So, but
do
basically,
you
what
respect
that's
a man
saying
like
is-
that?
Do I respect
I'd
a
like a
man?
different question. A man who needs sex, do you respect him?
Well, I think all men need sex. I think like society always wants to shame the male sex drive, but they're men.
But
like
do you,
men.
Pearl, respect a man that you meet that needs sex?
Yeah. Like
Fair?
that's
No, I
all
was just
men.
wanting to-
Like
No,
to
but
me,
I-
I'm like that's every guy.
But right, but meaning like if the guy is now like subject to you because say you have given him this said sex and he's now like
That's why
all
men-
up under you.
I mean, that's like why the only real leverage men have is cheating. Like that's the only leverage that you have is fear that you'll cheat. That's why men do it. I'm not saying it's right, right?
Wait, you saying
But
that
what,
men have?
What
Oh,
other
yeah.
leverage as a man do you have other than other women?
But men don't really use that, do they? Men don't really.
Oh, yeah,
we
they
don't
do.
knowingly use it.
But they don't use it as leverage. I've never known.
I don't know. Go.
I've only ever known men in movies
Mm-hmm.
and among my friends. They just can't help themselves, so they cheat secretly.
Yeah.
They don't use it for leverage against the woman.
Yeah, but women can feel it.
Oh, yeah, they
So
know.
yeah, women know.
But
like
he's
women.
not
Yeah.
trying to control her that I know of.
Well,
Right.
it might not be like
That's
conscious,
interesting.
but why do you think Melania like doesn't act up? Like why? Like she's on good behavior because Trump can and will replace her. Like that is the only
But see,
leverage
here's
men
I
the
think
thing-
of
have.
her
here's
as
the thing,
well
Trey.
trained, though.
I mean, here's the thing, though.
Yeah, but
That is
come
the
on, Stormy
training.
Dan, he was doing it. Come on.
I
Like,
I don't know.
But here's the
Maybe,
thing,
maybe
Pearl,
not.
This is what I feel like
That was
you,
05.
like maybe
She was
leaving out
pregnant.
in some elements is the element of the possibility that maybe let's just say Melania, don't know, maybe she just is a decent woman. Maybe she's a decent lady who has moral values. Maybe had a past. She was a model. Maybe had a past, but maybe came to this revelation that she no longer wants to live this way and wants to be loyal to her husband.
And he is a decent
obedient,
man.
correct.
And
Well,
he's realistic.
yeah, but I just don't think that she would be a decent woman if he was a simp.
I
Like,
agree.
I don't.
I don't
yeah,
think
like
so.
I
agree.
think even
Because
good
why we
women-
should be married.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
like I
right.
think even good women become terrible. Like I've seen women better than me,
It
where I'm
brings
like,
out the worst
that's
of
why
them.
I say I'm not special because I've
Yeah.
seen women better than me do worse than I think I would do.
Right,
Right.
right,
But I'm
right.
like you're by every like moral standard I would think would never do that, and then they do. But it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
if they sense simp, you're cooked.
You're cooked.
Done.
Because if this woman that was decided to
That's
live
true.
right and all that, then she just wouldn't either get married or not necessarily get out. Oh, I'm with a simp, I'm going to get out. Maybe she'll do the honorable thing. I don't know. But this woman wouldn't desire such a relationship, is all I'm saying. She wouldn't desire a wrong relationship with a wrong man.
Right.
And by simp, you mean weak to her.
Weak to her.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, describe it. I put words in your mouth.
Happy
Simp.
wife. Can you come? Can you come out with us? Let me ask my wife. That's what I know.
Yeah. No, it's
That's when I
true,
know
though.
you're done.
But women sense that. I think you mentioned it too. Women sense
neediness.
that there is a weakness there, and they take advantage of it, even if they don't want to. They can't help but to take advantage of that weakness. And I think that if men overcame sex, because I think sex is a big part of the reason why women can control men, is because the men don't want to miss out on something. They don't want to lose out on something. But if a man's focus is not on the woman, or he overcomes like the desire to want to get her because she's only because she's beautiful, then he can properly lead. And if that's the case, isn't there a chance that if a man is leading and he's exhibiting that leadership, that a woman just wants to follow him because she sees that he's a actual man and she'll stay loyal? Isn't that possible in some realm?
I've never seen a guy overcome sex.
How about contain him?
Maybe there are
discipline
these like
himself?
mystery men that don't like it. But this always happens. Like to be honest, like there's always some church that's peddling this, and then the pastor's always having an affair. Like, you know,
That's what
and I'm like, they're always
That's
like,
true.
"Oh, I've overcome sex," and that they see
a
the
good
thoughts
point.
in the front row, and they're like, "You know what?"
That's a good point. And maybe men realize they shouldn't even talk about it, and they don't. But,
Because it's like, okay, you could say you overcame sex, but if women aren't trying, then did you?
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
That's
Like,
another one, too.
like
Yeah.
how many? I have to look at like men in those positions to see
Yeah.
what they would do, right? So like athletes, actors, men that have women throwing themselves at them 24/7.
Yeah.
I mean, even Trump like caved. You know what I mean?
Allegedly.
And Trump is like he's a great man, right?
Yeah.
He's a awesome person. But sex is a need for men, and they just always love hot young things.
Trump is not the best example. Like I think that he's solid, but I don't think Trump is the best example. Only because Trump came from Hollywood, young, and at that point, you being around all the time, you're bound to get weak at some point. Especially his views has changed a lot over years of like what he values. So I think that he is a example now, but
I think
don't
he
know if
was
he
an example then
exemplifies-
too.
He
I
was
think
raised like
I
that.
think even before he overcame sex, let's say he's in his 70s and he can control himself better now. In his late 70s, maybe.
Yeah.
Even
That
then,
Diet Coke.
even then there was like that
DC.
that old school a-hole American man
Like his dad.
that you just
Yeah.
respected, even if he
Did stuff.
cheat here and there.
I see.
You know.
I almost
You're scaring all the wives
because
right now.
his wives to this day, those who are living, respect him,
They
or
do.
that woman
Yeah.
respected him.
Yeah.
Who is she? She lied about him in the divorce proceeding, and then she
Yeah.
said, "Oh, I was just angry."
Yeah.
Because the mainstream media, I don't know if you knew the story. The mainstream media tried to say, "Oh, he did this or that," according
yeah.
to Marla Maples or
No, it was the other one.
Ivana. And she's like, "Oh no, I love him."
Right.
Yeah.
And
He was
I'm
the one that died.
yeah, she died recently,
Yeah.
but she was just mad in the divorce, and so
Yeah.
she said something.
Yeah.
But she
Deep.
Always had a respect.
And I don't think it's more. And I suspect that it's more than just his money, because
Yeah.
look at the way that Alec Baldwin's wife despises him,
Yeah.
and all these others. There's
Yeah.
somebody else who was also really cringy recently,
Yeah.
and they're rich, but they're not. They don't have that spirit
Justin Bieber.
That's true.
that commands respect.
That's true. So you're about to say something that men don't. She said men don't fully overcome sex, and you said that. What if it's what?
What if they can like kind of discipline themselves a little bit? Like I feel like
and still
this
be
is-
a man and lead?
It
is what
doesn't
you're
seem
saying?
like it doesn't seem like a real need. It seems like just because it just seems like an easy to fall into vice, especially more and more now.
I mean, the part of your brain that lights up for food also lights up for sex. Like, I think that's like, I feel like religions always try to sell you that it's not a need, but then why do 96% of men watch porn?
Weak.
Because
Like-
it's so easy. Like
Weak.
Weak,
most
really?
pe-
95% of the population is
Weak.
real.
Yeah,
I think so.
I think
it's a- yeah.
don't you think we're all men
Yeah.
are weak, all women are evil? Isn't that fair?
I think. What
And then
is,
some men
That's
get
perfect.
a little bit better, and they don't overcome that part until after their bodies calm down. Maybe.
One thing I want to say really quick is that JLP often says, Jesse Lee Peterson often says, the last thing men have to overcome is sex and food. And it's interesting you said that because you said that it comes from the same brain. Didn't know that, and it's probably true.
The flesh.
But
Interesting.
like the majority of men forever to the end of time will be in that 90 whatever percent of doing that can't control themselves. But are you denying, Pearl Davis, that the small percentage of men out there don't exist?
I don't see a lot of evidence for that. Miracles do happen, right? As I said before.
But did you believe in miracles?
I don't discount that it's possible, right? But
enough.
the
God
older I
exists.
get, the more I kind of see the truth behind things. And a lot of
Fair
people
enough.
that try to sell you that they're special or different
Yeah.
are exactly the same.
That's true. That's
Isn't
fair
religion
enough.
smart though for trying to convince us that it's not a need and trying to convince us to be better self-controlled and all that stuff?
No, because if they really if they looked at it as a need, they'd have a solution, right? You'd have people like your sex drive starts at 14, 15. I mean, uncomfortably young, right? So, like, if they really cared about solving the problem, why aren't parents working to get their kids married at 18? They're gonna have sex with somebody.
Good old days.
Yeah, like they're gonna
Yeah.
like have like how many dads are like they're sending their daughter to college, you know?
Terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
or
True.
like if you're gonna send her to a group, like send her like Where would I send my daughter? I'd have to
Yeah,
think about it. Like,
Nowhere.
you know what? There was in high school, I didn't clock this then, but a lot of the parents sent their daughters to go be like cart girls at golf courses, and a lot of them ended up getting married because of that. 'Cause
Genius.
yeah, so
That is.
Somewhere that's not known for having sex, and a lot of it, or getting drunk.
well, they're gonna have sex.
Yeah.
Like, look at the like they're gonna do. It's just like you might as well pick someone better for her to do it with, or him, right? Or try your best, but
Yeah.
like churches aren't doing that.
Yeah,
Like, if anything, they
that's
keep
true.
people like single.
Well, there's some people who will agree with men have this need and that they have this drive, and they'll identify with it or keep it and try to use it and still sleep with women or whatever, but yet still try to be a man about it. And then there's some men who believe that you can overcome it completely, right? And that's typically like religious people. Well, there's this one, Myron Gaines. Are you familiar?
Yeah, I know Myron.
Myron, you guys know Myron Gaines. For sure. Podcast called Fresh and Fit. Well, he went to the University of South Carolina.
That
Did
was
you
so
see that?
funny.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Well, he gets, I found this clip. I came across this clip, and I want to play it really quick. Myron Gaines gets scolded on his advice for men at a crowd debate held at the University of South Carolina. He gets some pushback for his mindset. Here we go.
So can I ask a quick synopsis of what you think the prescription is for society today for men? In a short version, what do you think they should do to be successful with women?
To be successful with women,
Yeah.
okay, are we talking about like getting a girl for a long-term relationship, just to get laid? What are we talking about?
Well, I
here?
think the only reason should be for a long-term relationship and marriage. I mean, as Jesus Christ founded it, but I'm just curious what your prescription is.
Well, I've talked about this. I think guys have to have certain things in place, right, before they want to get into a long-term relationship. It's 5 things. So I would say 100K per year, 6 figures a year, 6 months to 1 year of savings, be in good shape, have at least 50 partners, right, sexual body count.
All right, and then is that the last one?
And then there's one more, but that's fine. You could go ahead and
Okay.
engage with what I've said so far.
So the reason I asked that is I've watched almost every single podcast you ever did for about a year and a half. So much so that I bought into a lot of the things that you said. And for about 2 years, it led me astray and significantly damaged my personal life, including relationships.
How did it lead you astray?
Well, you told me to go sleep with a bunch of women and date multiple women at the same time, which I did. And it significantly damaged my life. And it wasn't until I actually turned around and started listening to Jesus Christ that I was saved. Now I'm happily married. I have one child.
Women love that.
On the way, and I've never felt happier.
Right now.
But I felt.
Congratulations, that's good. That's really good.
Thank you. And I know you're not against that, but my concern is what you're saying to men leads them astray, because I'm a walking example of it. And I think you're significantly damaging people, and especially you're leading people away from morality. Women are not sex objects. Women are created in the image of God, and they are valuable. And they should be treated as such. Why should God give you one of his children if you don't even know how to treat them? So I think
That's it.
The women really like him.
So here, in this scenario here, do you think he's incorrect
Yeah, I think he's simping. Yeah.
for the woman?
Well, I think number one, he wanted to do what he wanted to do. Like, if I want to lose weight, I watch a video on how to lose weight and I do it. He wanted to sleep with a lot of
Yeah.
women, and now he wants to get out of jail free card.
Blame
He
him.
wants to blame Myron. So I'm like that. Number two, it did work. It
In what
worked.
way? In
He
what way?
slept with a lot of women and then he got married.
Oh.
Unfortunately, now we're in the modern dating
Mm-hmm.
marketplace, right? Sex usually comes before relationships. I'm not
Yeah.
saying it should.
Right.
I'm not saying it's moral, but it's the same reason hoes get married. They're
Right.
having sex.
No, that's the reality.
Yeah,
That-
that's the reality
Yeah.
of it. And men act different. They put up with a lot less when they have choice.
Yeah.
So
Do you think that,
I'm not saying it's right,
Right,
right?
I
I'm
know,
not.
I
I try to take
totally-
morality out of
Yeah,
it, but
I totally know
when
what
I
you're
look
saying.
at like the guys that got married and have
Yeah.
the most, I would say, obedient girlfriends or wives,
Yeah.
it's guys that did that.
I
Like,
totally
I-
agree.
I'm
with
not
what you're
saying it's
too.
good, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's
go
the
ahead.
It speaks
reality.
to the woman too. Why that is, yeah. Why that would be successful. It speaks to.
It's the only way
women.
men have leverage.
Yeah.
Like there's no other leverage you'll have in society.
Well,
the leverage of knowing how to deal with her, or the leverage of the leverage of cheating.
Yeah,
Or
the ability to walk away. But
the
men
leverage
don't,
of not caring.
Yeah, but that like usually that only comes for men when they're not forced to go like 2 years without sex if they leave.
Oh, so the leverage of walking away is why
like you're gonna act different if you know if she messes up. Like Trump is gonna act different. Trump's gonna act different because he knows if Melania if she acts up, I have 5 women ready to go. Right. I'm not saying it's right.
So you're saying the guys think that. I'm just trying to understand. You're saying the guys think that the women have that leverage of they don't have to give them.
So they don't necessarily have to cheat. They just have to be able to walk away.
Yes.
But the only way they can walk away is if they can cheat most of the time.
Or
if
you
they
forgive
have another choice.
women.
But how would you if you suck with women, how would you get better? Do you know what I mean? Like how would you it's a skill on some level, right? You'd have to get out there. You'd have to go out and date. I'm not saying that's right. You know, I understand.
It's also like a wisdom thing, though. I feel like there's a wisdom and a realizing you don't actually need them to be able to deal with them, because at the root it's that neediness that she hates, and it's the lack of neediness that keeps her there, keeps her around.
Yeah.
But it's
I know people with no experience with women, but because they have gone over that, they treat them the way this guy that you're talking about would.
Take it or leave it.
I have
Because they
never
can
met
take it or
those
leave it.
guys ever.
No, that's true though, because they're just
Let's say if a Christian guy wants to be moral, he should realize that he's an idiot for caring. Yeah. And he's actually it's a false idol.
Just
and
realize
then he doesn't have to. He can drop that part.
Just say I'm a simp and let it be. Don't try to pretend you're not a simp.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's because that is why women are a big part of why the women are in the condition they are today is because they get away with, like you said, they're not told no. If a guy was truly take it or leave it, right, or was a simp and just admitted it, then he has a better chance of not being subject to her.
Admitted it to himself.
Yeah, admitted to himself, right? He doesn't necessarily have to go out there and tell the world. But it's less likely that she's going to have this play over him.
Yeah, I think the challenge churches are having now is what works isn't always moral. And that's like a tough conundrum.
True.
It's a tough, you know, if you're watching the guys that are just running through women get more obedient women, hotter women, better women, overall, they're even getting the best women in church. What is the incentive for men to be moral?
Yeah,
there's very little. I'm not saying they shouldn't, right? No, but we want to ask, why is this happening, right?
That's very true.
It's same with women. What incentive do women why are women naked on Instagram? Well, the incentive is if they show their body, they get a higher status guy.
And
why would they not do it?
Exactly. That brings up the Botox and the lip fillers and all that crap. Yeah. What's the percentage of guys who don't like that?
Well, yeah, but again, it goes back to revealed preferences versus stated preferences. What do men respond to?
Yeah,
men think they respond to one thing, but I don't think the lip filler does a lot. But there's certain procedures I've seen change women's lives.
Well, let me tell you.
I don't say this in a happy way.
The face things though, because it just. Well, I don't know. All those
Megyn Kelly looks better than most women her age.
Because of
Pearl's making a point though that I want to add to.
Melania also is Botox. You can tell. Yeah.
And a lot are. It's done really well.
You just can't tell as well.
But
they did it better.
But even the
subtle.
ones that are obvious, to make your point, there is even if a guy doesn't want to necessarily bring her home to mom or whatever, wife her up, there's still a desire that she's insecure. So I want to take advantage of her, even though it's not attractive. He don't even not thinking.
Yeah, because it's
sex.
It bothers me that the face, the body is not natural.
But guys don't care.
And I feel
sexual.
there's got to be other people other guys that are.
It does bother you guys because it's
irritated.
Cheating, but that doesn't mean it doesn't work. That again, it's what's moral and what works aren't always in the same okay, we could look at
that's a good
even Melania Trump, who I love, she's awesome, but she's had work done.
Yeah.
You know.
Melania doesn't look like
I
someone
disavow.
But
I disavow.
I'm not saying
she's making the statement. I didn't say it.
I don't.
Allegedly.
I don't know if she said it.
For the sake
I don't
of-
know if she did.
Nah.
No, he doesn't look like
Fair
those.
enough.
I mean, she
It
can't
could
look
be.
like that without doing. Like, there's no way.
But whoever her doctor is really good. Is what I'm trying to say. It's just
Yeah. So,
That's
and
all
like
we're
the
trying to
thing
say.
is
You mean
too, a lot of
nutritionist.
nutrition.
a lot of it's also a strategy to reel men in for sex and then be
Exactly.
pleasant enough that they stick her. That's how a
That's
lot
the
of
only.
some people, some women that I know, like from school, that was. I thought this guy would never take her seriously. She just
Yeah.
stuck around long enough.
I can almost.
There's got to be a contingent.
I can almost bank almost. I want to say 100, but I'll leave it at 99% of guys know that that's unattractive. That is just off, a little bit off. The fake lips, the fake stuff.
Yeah.
That is just guys know that. But like Pearl was saying, it does work because for whatever reason, that nature in men, the sexual nature, will
Yeah.
still go for it. Whether it makes
Or are
them
they
good-
just,
think
the
girls may
people
not
are
know
not that
that.
observant? Maybe the guys are not that observant that there's something off about it.
But it's
I think
yeah.
guys know. I mean, I
It's
think
that, some of that.
it, you
I
guys,
think
it
girls don't-
depends.
What are you saying?
It
Pearl?
depends on the work. I've done a
I was
lot
about
of
to say.
shows on work, so I could some of it you guys would notice, some you wouldn't.
Some of you can tell.
You like lip fillers, guys can tell. Like
Yeah.
for example, I don't think you guys would notice like a blepharoplasty.
I
What'd
know
you say?
that is.
Yeah, exactly.
Say
What
that
is
again.
that? It's like the forehead.
No, it's basically like it gets rid of like my eyes kind of turn down a little bit, and you can get it so it's like pulled back like that.
I've seen that.
Oh.
Biden has that, right?
Yeah, probably
Oh.
yeah.
'Cause
And so it's like they
all
just
these-
cut us. Yeah.
What? Do you think because of that? It's making a bad reputation for the natural girls? Like they're undesirable now because all these different
I was
things?
just
I
watching.
find them more attractive because of this. Because of the all of. Go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, that's a good point too, though.
Well, again, stated preferences versus revealed preferences. And if you want to if you want to see
Whatever.
if you want to see what men are attracted to, I mean, you have to look at what like the men with the most choice are picking, right? Like what
Yeah,
are
exactly.
like the men that have all of the choice, like what are they picking? And
But if they had had so much choice, their desires could have been like twisted. Because the
Right.
more you get into that, the more perverted you
Yeah,
get.
exactly.
Right?
That's all.
Oh,
it is.
anyway, go ahead.
The perversion is the reason why they choose the girls with the guys choose it because
It's so freakish.
It's a fantasy. It's
that they
freakish.
get freaky for it.
So-
right,
Pearl.
and then he's thinking the
sorry.
girl is. No, go ahead. Finish.
So, Pearl, were you saying that men were lying about this one?
Whoa.
I don't know if you
okay,
saw
so
this.
here's the caveat. I actually don't.
This is a little
think-
different.
I
This is
don't-
makeup.
I actually don't think men are lying about that, but it's because she's young. So she's
Ah,
like 22.
that's
right?
true. And she
So
looks
the
old
options women
the
have when
makeup.
they get older is you look kind of weird, but you still get attention from men, or you become invisible.
But
right?
this one's
That's-
saying,
I see.
okay, but
That's
this one's
like-
saying the look on the right is women for other women, and I don't know how. Maybe partly.
they've done a video on this. On
She
the
does look
different-
older with the makeup.
Is it true that it's for other women or is it for guys?
Well, I think in this case, I would say the men would pick the left, but it's because she's young.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
but I
Fair
don't
enough.
think. I think if she was 32 and it was the same barefaced picture, it would be something else.
Are you
Like
for
that-
Yeah, my grandma.
That's, yeah.
My grandma has a really cute, pretty picture as a math teacher before she had kids,
Yeah.
and then all my life I knew her face was like sagged,
Yeah.
and that was just my grandma. I didn't think
Yeah.
anything of it.
That's just how it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
But if she were like Nancy Pelosi, it would be more attractive.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's true. That part is undeniable.
Interesting.
Yeah, like I mean, who looks better? Like if we look at, and I hate these examples because they started off way hotter than the average woman, so they're gonna look better. But like
Yeah.
Melania,
Yeah.
Ivanka is another one that's had a lot of work done.
Yeah.
The daughter?
See,
Wait, what?
I thought
She's
she,
re-
'cause
she's,
Ivanka's my age.
She's blowing our minds here. You're saying,
Pull
you're
it up,
saying
I'll tell
Ivanka?
you.
You're saying Ivanka?
I do not deny.
work?
I don't
did
know
not.
if it's true.
I
but
disavow.
maybe
it.
it
Right, right.
This is conspiracy theory
She'll
stuff.
she'll understand. She trusts to
Beauty-
stay on YouTube as well,
Yeah.
so she'll understand our attempt here.
But beauty the past 15 years have enhanced, and it could be due to the fact that the standard is growing and people are choosing to get this like seemingly unnoticeable type of enhancements. But what I find that that's doing is like it's putting a lot of pressure on the natural woman to where she's just normal and she's just trying to go about being normal, to now she has this pressure to look beautiful because the standard has shifted. Do you see that to be a case with ladies or no?
Well, again, it's women going for the hot guys, so they're competing. That's what they're doing. They're trying.
And this
to,
is part of
So
that.
what's the solution for the ones that just want to be normal and natural
marry,
like yourself?
Well, you marry an average guy,
Find a bee,
and then
man.
and when you tell women that, they'll scream.
That's interesting.
But that's just
interesting.
vanity. That's just their vanity,
That's the
really.
vanity. Yeah, that's
Right?
Like it's the lack of like contentment, with,
Yeah,
like being
exactly.
happy with what you have,
Yeah, exactly.
right? But
Exactly.
like I mean, okay, so an example that I think of is in the Pamela Anderson. Like she wouldn't have been on the cover of Playboy, whatever she was on, if she didn't get the giant fake boobs. Like she would,
Yeah.
she would have
No, for
never
sure.
been on Baywatch. She would have
Yeah.
never, and she got
What a
what she
shame.
wanted.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, and she got what she wanted, which was a kid from I don't know
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
musician or whatever. So her genetic material is better than she ever would have gotten by one surgery.
That's it. So opportunity is far more valuable than truth to people in general.
Well,
really, but
again,
ladies.
this is why I tried to split it. Like I try not to focus as much on morality because like
good
to me
point.
it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
Like not to be it's just when I'm a cultural commentator
Yeah.
and I'm
Talking
saying
about what
like
is.
what
Yeah.
is like what that's going to do like is more accurate, I would say.
I see.
Yeah, like I could
Fair
say this
enough.
surgery would appeal to this guy that
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
you know, cuz if you're going to
Which is
go
more relatable to
like, is she going for a rapper? It's a completely different type of surgeries you're going to need.
BBL.
ladies.
yeah.
Are you trying to go for the conservative men?
Since we were just doing something similar, were the women lying about this one?
Oh, yeah. So what they're trying
Yeah, I
to
was
do.
saying they were
Yeah,
lying
yeah.
about this one.
So what they're trying to do is the guy on the right has too much power, right? You date a guy like that, women are going to try to sleep with him all the time. So they have to they have to convince men to be the guy on the left so they can get a bailout plan. So they want to hide, like women want to hide how attracted they are to the guy on the right.
Why? Because they know the guy on the left they can control.
Yeah,
Bingo.
because like, what are you gonna like if you're dating the guy on the right? What are you gonna? You tell him what to do, and he says no. Like what? He'll just find another.
It's so security in the ugly or not as attractive or not as attractive.
Yeah, I mean that's men getting leverage, right?
Yeah.
Like they don't even have to cheat, but if you look like that, she knows you can.
yeah,
Right,
yeah.
so
And
women
let's
have
say-
to keep. That's why
What
women
the-
say they like dad. Like you guys fall for everything.
God.
That's why women say they like dad bods. That's why they say they like nice guys because they like women. We need a bailout
Yeah.
plan. We need.
And they can get money
I was
out of them.
saying about that one. Let's say for a moment, let's just assume the women are they're begging us to believe them that they love the dad bots. Okay, fine. Let's just face value that's what you love. Are we to assume that then at their baseline they want us to be weak? That's what they truly desire. They want us to be weak and flabby.
No,
so
no,
it doesn't
I mean,
it doesn't fare
you
well
can
on
read
either
feminist
side of
writing.
the argument.
You can
Yeah.
read feminist writings on it. They want you, like, yeah, they want you to be weak. Like I think Sheryl Sandberg, she has writings where she's like, date all these guys in your 20s and then get a guy to bail you out in your 30s. That's the plan.
Terrible.
But do they
That's-
really like it though? From maybe just people you talk to, your experience, do they really like the fact that he's weak and they can control him, or they kind of hate the
Well,
fact? that
no,
he's
it's
weak?
like women want freedom, right? So women
Yeah.
want like why do women like Kim Kardashian so much?
Yeah.
One, she's gotten to be hot. Like, I mean, I know men will say no, I wouldn't.
No, sir. No, man.
I
No,
would.
miss.
Everybody really does.
Okay.
But Joel brings up a good
Ass.
or sorry,
But like, okay, pretty attractive for her age,
Yeah.
right? She gets all the money, so now she doesn't have to date. Like, that's the female dream, is
Yeah.
not having to date the guy on the left. She
Yeah.
can date men on
Yeah.
the right for eternity.
Options
Yeah.
and
So she gets
control.
the freedom. She doesn't
Yeah.
have to stay with them if she doesn't want to.
Yeah.
And she can, like, she's hooking up with, like, I know you wouldn't think that Pete Davidson is the guy on the right, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's an attitude too. It's guys that are like comedians, famous guys, clout, like whatever it is for the chick. So she can do that forever. So now
Yeah.
women, like, that's why they love Taylor Swift, right?
but
she's dating a Super Bowl
Yeah,
champ at
that's true.
36.
That's true though. At the end of the day, but I think that
Dang.
these
36 now, huh?
Joel.
Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
feel Joel, I feel like you brought up something interesting though, Pearl. What do you think about? What was I gonna say? Yeah, I know you weren't. You're just speaking about what it is, not exactly morality. I like that approach. But put it like this: do you think women are happy like this? Are they happy despite it being true, despite all these things? Are they happy doing what they want?
Well, women are
In this way?
happy till the consequences hit. Like, look at 22-year-old women. They're super happy. They're like getting worshipped all the time. They get free trips, free flights. Like, they're very happy at 22, but it's when they can't get the attention of the hot guys anymore when they get mad.
Well, I want to say this because I have one more short little thing that, because Myron responded to it, and I thought we were going to get to it right after, but we got into this, which is fine. But
I didn't realize that we were going to hear his response.
There was a response
My bad.
where he like explains why it was good that this man who went out and had sex with a bunch of these girls and then found a wife. Myron explains how, like, well, where did you go wrong? This is a good thing.
He didn't even really explain how it messed up his personal life.
I was thinking that
Well,
too.
here he
The equivalent.
It was
What did he say?
unconvincing.
Well, and like what? You're going to wait for a girl that had sex with other guys for free? Like, isn't that kind of simpy?
Well, what? Well,
Like,
but
isn't that
hold
kinda
that.
like-
Hold that because
You
I
said
want
that
to play
again?
this last
Oh,
part.
sorry, go.
Hold that.
Go ahead.
Here's where Myron responds to that.
When you dated and dealt with all these women, you probably were able to identify characteristics that you were not fond of, or characteristics that would make a woman not a good candidate for a long-term relationship. And I think half the game is figuring out which girls don't qualify for marriage versus which ones that do. And clearly you learned a skill set on how to become attractive and get women, and then you're able to identify the things that you like versus the things that you don't like. And that only comes a lot of times with experience. Now, look, if a guy can go ahead and find a woman as a virgin and be attractive and be able to understand how to navigate that, that's great in modern times. But the reality is a lot of guys don't. And I mean, even in your success story, you had to go through a lot of bad women to be able to identify your current wife as the one. So failures are good.
So he justifies saying that you had to go through a lot of bad women in order to find your wife. So I helped you out, brother, type of thing. You think that that's true, or what do you?
I mean, morality, everyone has a different morality. So I'm not coming from like a Catholic Christian perspective, but that's kind of like a trainer that helped a guy get a six-pack. And then the guy's like, well, I don't like the way you like made me do it, you know.
But that's how you do
like,
it.
I got
But you
you,
still-
I got you a six-pack. Like, so, I mean, I understand like the religious argument, but the religious people aren't coming with solutions. Like, they're not like getting people married super young.
Yeah.
So it's like nobody asked to be in this dating market. Like nobody, like it's not anyone's fault they were born into this.
Is that the
people
answer?
adapt. I'm not here to tell people what the answer is. You have to figure it out in your own life, you know.
So you wouldn't say it was wrong.
All I can say is what I've seen work and what I've seen
Yeah.
not work based on my experience and interviewing people. And so, like, I'd have women saying on the podcast they like a certain type of guy, but then, like, one time I had guys that would come in and recruit women, so I would get, like, and that's kind of how I know how to, like, identify certain things, because I would have to pick guys that I knew were good, like, in jobs that women like, club promoters, like, so I could recruit women for the show, right?
Interesting.
Musicians, like actors, whatever.
Yeah.
And so, for example, like, one girl on the show was saying she likes this type of guy, and one of the guys brought his friend, and his friend took her home after the podcast. He was like a criminal.
Oh.
Which I was actually annoyed that he was allowed there to begin with, because I
yeah.
didn't know who this guy was, but it was like, do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like it's like I could say that I've seen really good results for people that do it the moral way. It's just not what I've seen.
In retrospect, is any of us saying that Myron's approach is wrong, like incorrect?
Well, I didn't, because you guys are, I'm assuming it's like a Christian thing. So you guys, that could be accurate from a biblical point of view, but I'm asking, does it work or does it not work? Like, if I say, okay, fix your car, and you do these things, it, like, you might not like the way it happened, but did it work or did it not work?
Meaning, like, did you get the wife?
Yeah.
I agree. I do agree that, like, I don't think that what Myron Gaines is saying is wrong. And I don't think that approach is wrong. I think that in what your point you're making, I agree with. And I think you guys are making it too, is that what works and what doesn't work. Is he gonna find a wife doing it this way by sleeping with a lot of women and eventually finding one that maybe has the values that you think that you want? Yes. Is it the proper way or the right wife or anything like that? Then that's up for debate. But will they find it? Yes. The guys better get it together. All guys have to get it together or you're cooked. Because what you're saying, which I believe it to be true already, we talk about it on our individual shows, Jesse's has talked about it, is that women, especially today, but across time, history, have a way of getting their way. And what seems to be happening now, it's more accepted. So girls are getting better at being smarter and deceptive. And if guys don't get it together, then the women take over and they're cooked. And I know that a lot of people don't like the religious thing or the Christian thing, but it is a solution for people to overcoming their desires that allow them to be in silly situations and also allow them to recognize and see and point out and observe these behaviors before they even reaches them. And I feel like that's possible.
I mean, it sounds nice.
Nice.
I'm just, I'm too black-pilled. There's been too many pastors that have just been in weird stuff.
Can I ask, are you Christian or were you raised Christian or anything?
I'm Catholic.
Okay, nice.
Well, but I'm not overly religious though. I don't know if you could tell, but
I can't tell because what you're doing is just saying what it is, not what it should be.
Right.
And that's nice.
And so you've left that out.
Yeah.
You've done a good job of that.
Promote your stuff, whatever you have, your channels and everything, promote it so people can find you.
Yeah, so I'm on YouTube. If you type in Pearl Davis, I'll come up. I do a call-in show 3 days a week. So if you guys have some crazy dating stories, feel free to call in. I also am on the AudacityNetwork.com, so that's my free speech platform. And it helps us raise money for our divorce documentary. We're trying to raise money for the next round of edits, so if you guys are interested. And if you have a crazy divorce story, feel free to DM me, because we are looking for stories. On Twitter, Pearly Things with a Z is the best way to contact me.
Nice.
Are you also on Rumble? Because we have some Rumble-only people who hate YouTube.
Yes, I'm on Rumble. You can type in just Pearly Things. It'll come up.
My last question.
How do we end this?
Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. Hit the button over here. Subscribe over there. Ring the bell over
I'm not doing all that editing with all this. That's not going to pop up over there. It's not gonna pop up.
Ain't nothing popping up. And the people like, where? Just hit the button. Y'all know what to do. Bye.
But you didn't say to Punchie TV, but I'll put that up. Punchy TV.
I ain't know I was supposed to say that.
You just subscribe to Punchy TV.
Oh.
But that's fine.
But they know they're looking at Punchie TV.
That's fine.
We'll put that in the edit. That part, that little conversation.
Yeah, put that in there.
All right, thank you, Pearl. We appreciate it.
What a doll.
Coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Hopefully everything was cool. Oh, it didn't record. Do it all over again. Nah, play. Nah.
There's too many people here for that to happen. That's a struggle stream problem. You guys are past that.